Good morning, and welcome to another video. Today we're gonna watch T100 San Francisco. It's around 5:50 a.m. right now. We're on the way to the swim exit in T1 and T2. Let's do some predictions. So on the men's side, I think Martin van Riel is gonna win it. In second, the German in me is picking Freddie Funk. And then in third, Sam Long. On the women's side, I'm picking Ash Gentle for the win, Taylor Knibb in second, and then for third, again, the German me is picking Laura Philipp. We'll see how that goes. We made it down to the swim exit, and with the men's race kicking off at 6 a.m., the men were already in the water. After just 14 minutes, Rico Bogen and Ben Canute came out of the water. Rico came out first, but Ben passed him on the beach and into T1. The other men followed just seconds after, with the swim probably being slightly shorter than 2K, with the ferry that they jumped off of for the start being closer to the beach than they expected, and a crazy current that pushed the swimmers in towards the swim exit. The swim only lasted for 14 minutes, which is kind of crazy. The swim dynamics were super interesting, and the whole pack basically stayed together and came out of the water separated by merely seconds. Another interesting thing to mention is the water temperature. The water was super cold with around 12 degrees Celsius, so the swimmers were wearing the neoprene caps and the booties as well as the gloves, which are required in water temperatures below 14 degrees Celsius. The whole pack is so close together coming into T1. Great position for Sam. Rico almost got first, but I think Ben caught him coming out of the water. We walked over to see the athletes come out of T1, and you could pretty much see that Martin van Riel and Kyle Smith were going past Ben Canute, who was leading out of T1, right away. After watching all the athletes come out of T1, we walked back over to the swim exit to watch the women come out of the water. The women's race started at 6:45. The 45-minute time gap was a perfect time gap to me. For the women, Imogen Simmons took a different route from all the other athletes, but caught a crazy current and passed all the other athletes, and had a gap of about 30 seconds coming into T1. Also, one thing that was interesting to watch is that some of the athletes, especially in the men's race, targeted the beach early on, so they were able to run more on the beach. A second group that was more out on the water and targeted the swim exit closer to the little gate they ran through. The second and third group of women came out of the water with a 30-second and around a minute gap. Imo Simmons was able to catch a great current and had about a 30-second gap on the second group coming into T1. Coming out of T1, Taylor Knibb right away took initiative and put herself in the front, leading the bike race pretty much from the start. Early on in the bike race, a group of three, consisting out of Martin van Riel, Kyle Smith, and Rico Bogen, formed in the front, followed by another group including Mathis Magellier, Mika Nude, Rudy van Berg, and a little bit later, also Magnus Dietleff and Sam Long. Sam Long received a 30-second penalty in T1 for not closing his helmet before he moved his bike. However, still great positioning for Sam. Usually he has a lot of time to make up out of T1, but this time he was right in the mix with all the other guys. There were also some interesting situations regarding the drafting and passing rules, which is kind of expected on a hilly course like this. Especially one situation between Alistair Brownlee and Sam Long comes to mind, where Alistair tries to pass Sam, but Sam puts in a surge and Alistair isn't able to pass and has to drop back behind Sam. The first and second group pretty much came together with Clément Mignon as a great climber going to the front of the race for a short period, but then Sam Long took the lead coming into T2. The leading pack, consisting out of 8 to 9 riders, was followed by a couple riders that were kind of on their own in the middle of the field. Specifically, Peter Hemmerich and Frederik Funk were not profiting from the race dynamics in the front. On the women's side, Taylor Knibb took control early on in the race, put herself in the front, and after the first lap already had a 1 minute 30-second gap on Kat Matthews and the rest of the women. She only extended that lead and even put almost 10 minutes into Ash Gentle on the bike. Kat Matthews pretty much stayed in second position throughout the bike, with Laura Philipp in third. There was one situation where Kat dropped her chain coming out of the turn in front of T2, going out for another lap. Laura passed her briefly, but Kat was able to put on her chain super quick and passed Laura on the straight part leading to the Golden Gate Bridge. Coming into T2, Taylor had a huge gap. You could pretty much already tell if Taylor wouldn't blow up on the run. She had this race in the bag. Going into the men's run, Kyle Smith put a surge in right away coming out of T2 to break up the big group of athletes that came into T2 together. He managed to create a gap between him and his chasers of Martin van Riel and Rico Bogen, followed by another chasing group. However, at some point, he went through an aid station, dropped a water cup, and then got confused about the littering rules, went back, grabbed the cup to not get a littering penalty, which allowed Martin van Riel to catch back up to him. Eventually, even Rico Bogen, which was really impressive. A second group consisted consisting out of Magnus Dietleff, Mathis Margillet, and Mika Nude formed, chasing after the 3 men leading the pack. This meant it would be an epic showdown between the 3 men in the front for the podium. Sam Long couldn't hold on to this group, and the elastic band snapped pretty soon, with him not being able to stay in contact with a group of chasers. With Rico Bowden putting in surges with 2K to go and even earlier, but then also one big surge with 500 meters to go, he was trying to get away from Martin Van Riel and Kyle Smith, who both come from the Olympic distance. This was probably his only chance to get away from them. The 3 athletes came onto the last 200 meters together, leading to one of the most epic sprint finishes in middle distance triathlon history. The whole race came down to an epic photo finish between Martin Van Riel and Kyle Smith, in which Martin Van Riel beat Kyle Smith by about an inch. This was probably the craziest race, especially on the middle distance or long distance, and the craziest finish I've ever seen. And all in all, it was just an amazing race day, with the women still out on the race course. On the women's side, Taylor had a huge lead coming out of T2. So basically, if she would put in a solid run, she would be able to hold onto her lead and win the women's race. Kat Matthews and Laura Phillip were in 2nd and 3rd. Kat really put in a really solid run, keeping Laura, who's a great runner, at a distance for the whole race. But also Laura put in a very, very good run, coming in 3rd. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.